So, the last time you were in, we were talking about um, a pretty big life change for you.
Mhm.
So, have you thought about that?
I have, and I'm not real sure what I'm going to do. Big decisions to make. Logically, I'd like the positive and negatives of everything from the Franklin thing, but there's so many positives and so many negatives to all of them. Just don't know which way to go. It's either if I can go back to work, I would go back to work. So that financially is fabulous and leaves me the option later on, if they'll accept me, to go to school, to law school afterwards. But I would be graduating at 67 years old and the next month turning 68. So if I balance the positives and negatives about it financially, do I expend this money to do that? Am I in a better position if I do that now, or if I keep trying to go back to flying now until the end of my career time FAA limit? Or if I continue on, or do I do something else totally, altogether different? I don't even know where to go.
So when you look at the positives and negatives of it, does it weigh for you more on one side than the other? I mean, have you made a Franklin list and
I didn't make the list.
you didn't make the list?
No,
That's okay.
I mean, in my head I have
You
it.
made a list in your head. Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
So, did you want the positives and negatives of each, or what?
Well, I was sort of wondering what do you feel most passionate about, most drawn to?
The flying.
The flying.
Well, but the calling,
Mhm.
one is answering my financial needs,
Mhm.
and the other one is answering my mission in life. Because flying's not a mission in life. The calling is something I need to do.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying that at this point in your life, um, the the mission, you're more drawn to the mission than to the calling, or is it vice versa?
I think calling and the mission are the same thing, aren't they?
Um,
I'm called for to do the mission, but
Okay.
what is that? I know what the mission is, but it's just how do I get there?
How-
There's so many hurdles over which I need to go
Okay.
to get there,
Okay.
and the financial hurdle is one. But if I could do the flying first and then go do that, if they would still have me, and if I could get the value out of it later on, and if I could put the mission into it, your heart into it, to answer the
Okay.
call for all those years later, there's no limit on it. There's a limit on this first one.
So you feel like you need to get to the first step of the flying so that you can accomplish what you really want to do.
Financially, so that I'm
Financially.
not broke.
So if I see this correctly, or if I tell me if I'm wrong, if the flying was taken completely out of it and you couldn't fly,
Right. For now, they say I can't.
okay,
But
so
I'm still trying.
yeah, and I mean, you should. I mean,
Right.
that's what you love to do, and
Right.
definitely there is the possibility that it might work. But do you feel so? Do you ever look at it where you consider, okay, no, I'm not going to be able to fly. So then the question becomes, so now what do I do?
I've held out hope that I can continue to fly, that I can go back to flying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still the hope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if I'm within a year, there's no point in trying, because financially they won't take you back, because it's cost too much to then retrain
I see.
you, and then by the time you get out on the line, you have to stay as a co-pilot for a long time.
I see.
And you run out of time.
I see.
65 is the end of it.
Is the end of it.
The
I
day
see.
you turn 65.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, possibility, if that's totally out of the picture, I mean, it's like going behind a curtain,
Mhm.
and the curtain's coming down, but it has a few more years to go before it hits bottom.
Yeah.
So I guess technically, if there's 1 year left and it's still not happening, then it doesn't make any sense. And at that point, I guess I could go when I was 64, if in fact I would be, if I can pass all the tests to get into the law school.
But if you, so say this whole financial thing was out of the way. Like, say you didn't need to fly and the money was no option. Okay. So do you feel that law school is where you should be? Is it another dream? Like flying was a dream and you accomplished that. So do you feel like law school, do you feel the same way about law school?
I feel like I'm being guided that way, that's the way my heart's going. Defending freedom of religion or defending things that have happened to me in my life, because those I'm very passionate about. I'm interested in justice and lots of it.
Very noble goals. Very, very noble. No, that's
Maybe
wonderful.
not attainable, but
we need a noble. We need that in society. I mean, I think, yeah, we need people who are idealistic and want to.
maybe think outside the box.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's my thought right now. But it's how do I get there? And it's a huge decision. And I don't know, financially, you spend the money. How much can you get back out of that? Or do you just take something totally different and go be a financial planner or something? I don't know. Something totally different.
Go to law school, but use that in a different way.
Or if I can't even get into law school, then do something else. I've got to figure out a whole nother path if I can't do that.
So I hear you saying that there's a lot of decisions that are sort of right in front of you right now. Pretty right.
Yeah.
Close,
Yeah.
very, very close. Okay. All right. So
I don't know where I go.
so you're very spiritual, and so tell me about how the spiritual aspect plays into your decision making.
I feel like I've been guided that way, led that way. Different things pop up at a certain particular time. Running into people that you would never expect to run into. And them being the inspirational people in my life to all of a sudden be right there at the right time and you're going, okay, I think this is the way I need to be going. It's kind of checking off little guidance boxes all along the way. It's like a little nudge, a little nudge, a little nudge. So I feel like I'm being nudged along the way to do that. And then the big financial decision here is, do I sell the house to go to law school? I mean, these are huge, life-changing decisions. What happens if I don't make it through law school? And now I'm out of my own neighborhood, away from my family, in a end of the different part of the state, or in a whole nother state, who knows? Just huge decisions.
So I hear you saying that. So on the one hand, I hear that you've been nudged along the way, and you trust in that that's happened for you in your life along many other
It just
times in
seems
life.
I'm guided
It just
that way.
seems you're guided that way. But then, on the other hand, I hear you saying that there are still fears involved with moving in that direction.
What if, right? What if that doesn't work? What if I can't get enough money out of the house? What if should I rent the house and then go? And where do I put all the stuff for storage? And so, I mean, big decisions, but then the fear is, what happens if it doesn't work? But I need to not think that. Always think positively. Going, it's going to work. Just how is it going to work? Is it going to take me down a whole different path?
So you just brought two incongruent thoughts, and you brought them together.
I did.
And you just answered your own question.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Because what you just
explain
did,
to me what I just answered.
did was this.
Okay.
I propose to you that you're very spiritual and that you feel this guidance
Right.
along the way.
Right.
But that on the other path there is this fear, and you just said, maybe I need to just
listen, have faith in the spirituality, have faith in
Yeah.
my guides, and
Keep going.
keep going.
Think positively.
Think
Keep
positively.
going.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And quit
yes.
worrying about the what ifs.
Yes.
Oh,
exactly.
What if? What if this
Exactly.
happened?
Right.
What
Right.
if I didn't make it through? Like flight school years ago, I didn't have a car to get to my flying lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on my bicycle and rode through tough sections of town to get to the airport so that I could go fly with my backpack on. So if there's a will, I guess
There's a way, and so you had the resilience then to do that.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of other people would have said, "No, I'm not doing
It's
that.
too tough.
That's too tough." You had the resilience to move through and do that, and you were a female doing that,
Mhm.
which I don't
Yeah.
think there weren't a whole lot of females at the time.
No,
You can't tell
no.
me that there were, 'cause there weren't.
No.
No.
And when I applied for the reserves up in Connecticut, they told me I could be a nurse. I said, no, not doing that. Not doing that.
We're going to take a break right here. Stop this and do a little check. Okay. So